Hey guys, welcome to today's lesson. Today we're talking about indices. We're going to have a bit of a review of the indices. I'm only going to keep it pretty simple. So I'm going to review 3 or 4 laws. Okay, the first one is a to the m times a to the n. The second law is a to the m divided by a to the m. The third law, okay, is going to be a to the m to the power of n, and the fourth law is a to the power of 0. Okay, so these are the 4 laws that you have done since year 8, okay, but you might have forgotten them. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to use some numbers, right? I'm going to use 2 squared, actually do 2 cubed times 2 squared. Now you may or may not be able to give me the answer straight away. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull this apart to start with. Now I'm going to pull it apart 2 times 2 times 2, right? We've got a times in the middle. And then I'm going to do 2 times 2. Now hopefully if I do it that way, you're going to jump out and say, Pay, I can see what's going on here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So therefore that's 2 to the power of 5. Okay, hopefully you've done that. Now I want you to look at the 3 and the 2, and I want you to look at the 5 and say, well, how do I make it? By going straight to that, from there to there. Well, hopefully you can see that if I add the 3 and the 2 together, we get 2 to the power of 5 automatically. So the law says if the base is the same, now remember the base is the big number, in this case the base is the same, and I'm multiplying, they say that we simply add the powers together, and that is law number 1. So hopefully you remember that. If you don't, well, that's okay. Hopefully now you do. The next one, I'm going to look at something like this. 2 to the power of 5 divided by 2 to the power of 3. Likewise, if you have forgotten, okay, the rule, we can do it by hand. We have 2 to the power of 5, which means I'm multiplying 2 by itself 5 times, all right, all over 2 times 2 times 2. Now, hopefully you will remember, folks, that if you are or have got a number or a base that's the same on top and bottom, we can simply cancel them out. Why? Because 2 divided by 2 is 1. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 2 divided by 2 is 1. How many we got left over? We have 2 of them, so that makes 2 to the power of 2. Likewise, 5 and 3 we're dividing, and you've got 2 as the answer. What's the rule tell us to do? Well, the only way we can make 2 is by saying 5 subtract 3, which means when the bases are the same, we're dividing them, we are subtracting the powers from each other. Okay, that was the second rule. The next one is going to be a similar one. I'm going to say 2 cubed, and I'm going to say squared. So if we pull it out, what this means is this: 2 cubed times 2 cubed. Because I'm squaring it, we're multiplying itself twice. Of course, you could go further and say 2 by 2 by 2 and 2 by 2 by 2 and times it all together. But using the number 1 rule, we can see we add the 3 and the 3 together, we make 6. So shortcut, 3 and the 2, inside, outside the bracket, we make 6. How do we do that? Well, hopefully you just said to me, you multiply them together. That is rule number 3. And then the last rule that we're doing is one that pretty much you'll all remember. Anything to the power of 0 equals 1. What you might not remember, though, is y. Okay, I like to do this one where I might say something like 3 squared divided by 3 squared. Okay, what does that mean? Well, if we use our number 2 law, okay, when we divide the bases, we subtract the powers. So 2 minus 2 makes 0. Well, that makes sense, right? But that hasn't proved the fourth rule. 3 squared we know is also the same as saying 9. 3 squared is 9. And what's 9 divided by 9? 1. So you've just shown that that answer has 1 as well as 3 to the power of 0, which means they are equal to each other, and we have now proved the fourth rule. Let's look at some questions. Guys, please write the questions out. Even pause it if you've got this on your own device. Pause it, have a crack at the answers, and then play the video to see how you went. So, the first one. What I'm going to do to start off with, I'm going to simplify the top and the top ones first up here, and then I'm going to rewrite it. I'm going to clean it up. So I'm going to multiply the numbers together. 3 4s are 12. I then got a squared, and I've got a to the 5. We're multiplying the bases that are the same, which means we're going to plus 2 and 5 to make 7, and I'm going to got 6, a to the 3 on the bottom. I'm now going to simplify. We've got 12 divided by 6. Well, 12 divided by 6 equals 2. And then I've got a to the 7 divided by a to the 3. The number 2 rule says when I'm dividing, we minus those powers. So 7 minus 3 makes 4. Did you get that answer? I hope you did. Okay, next one. It's a similar question, but just a little bit different. There's no multiplication this time, but I've got some harder numbers. We've got 5 divided by 15. Now, that doesn't go evenly. If you do it on your calculator, which you can do without the algebra, of course, you might get 1 over 3. That's because 15 goes into, or 5, should I say, goes into 5 once, and 5 goes into 15 3 times. That's number 1. The second bit, we've got a to the power of 4 and a to the power of 3. We are dividing. So 4 minus 3 makes 1. So we have a to the power of 1, or just a. We then have the harder one where we've got q to the power of 1 divided by q to the power of 5. Now there's two ways that we could write this, guys. Q to the power of 1 minus 5. 1 minus 5 is negative 4. So q to the negative 4. Because again, 1 minus 5 is negative 4. That's the first way we could write this. Or what we could do is write 1 a to the 1 over 3. We can start on the bottom and say 5 take away 1 is 4. And because I started on the bottom, we can put 4 there. Again, I don't have to even put the 1 there and the 1 there. You can take those off if you wish. Again, you can take it off there and just have it like that. Both of those are correct because later on you'll hopefully remember the rule that q to the negative 4 is equal to 1 on q to the 4. They're both the same answer. What I can't have is q to the 4 on top. Doesn't work. Okay. Again, we'll go through those questions when I get back on Wednesday. The next one, we have 2a to the 6 to the power of 3. Now you might remember this as saying, well, the 3 works on both the 2 and the a to the 6. Okay, 6 times 3 makes 18. That's rule number 3. And then 2 to the power of 3 equals 8. And we have a, and we have 18. There's our answer. Now, if you weren't sure of that, you could do it a little bit differently. You could say 2a to the 6 times 2a to the 6 times 2a to the 6, like that. 2 by 2 by 2 is 8. And then when I times, rule number 1 says I plus 6 plus 6 plus 6 is 18. I get the same answer. I get them two different ways. Okay. Then we're up to the second last question. The 0 is only working on the a. This is one of the hardest things that people really struggle with. Okay, it only works on the a, which means I've actually got 5 times 1, which makes 5. Okay, in the second question, however, the 0 works on everything, so that means the whole answer is just 1. So be very careful to see what does the power work on. Is it working on the whole thing, or is it just working on part of it, like D, and only worked on part? Gentlemen, that is indices review, very basically. If you need some more help, plenty of stuff on YouTube. Have a look in your textbook. But the questions that we're going to be doing are primarily going to be on the first 3 rules. Any problems, I'll be back on Wednesday to help you out. Apart from that, hopefully this made a bit of sense, and I'll see you all on Wednesday. Have a good day.